Imagine your closest friend comes to you one day and tells you he's a prophet from God. What would you do? Would you laugh? Would you doubt him? Would you walk away? Only one man in all of history heard those words and didn't hesitate for a single second. He didn't need a sign. He simply said, "I believe you." That man was Abu Bakr Al-Siddiq. And that one moment of unshakable faith didn't just define a friendship, it changed the course of human history forever. Who was Abu Bakr? Before we dive in, let me tell you something most people don't know. Abu Bakr wasn't just the Prophet's companion. He was the wealthy merchant who spent every coin he owned for Islam. His real name was Abdullah ibn Uthman al-Qurashi, but history remembers him by his title, Al-Siddiq, the truthful one, the one who believed when everyone else denied. This is his story. Before Islam, the man behind the legend, Abu Bakr, was born in Mecca in 573 CE, just 2 years after the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He came from the Banu Taym clan of the Quraysh tribe, a family known for integrity and trade. From a young age, Abu Bakr stood out, not just as a successful merchant, but as a man who despised injustice and refused to bow to idol, even before Islam ever came. And his friendship with Muhammad, peace be upon him, it was one of those rare friendships built not on business or family ties, but on shared values. Honesty, dignity, a vision for something greater. People trusted Abu Bakr. They came to him to settle disputes. They respected his word. And that social weight, that reputation, would soon become one of Islam's greatest assets. The moment everything changed, his conversion. When the Prophet began receiving revelation and quietly calling people to Islam, the very first adult man to answer that call was Abu Bakr. No questions. No conditions, no hesitation. Just, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is his messenger. But here's what makes this even more remarkable, and Abu Bakr didn't stop at himself. He immediately began inviting others, and among those who embraced Islam through him in those early days, Uthman ibn Affan, Al-Zubayr ibn al-Awwam, Talha ibn Ubaidullah, Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, some of the greatest companions in Islamic history. The night journey, the moment he earned his title forever. Now, this is the story I really want you to hear, because this is the moment that explains everything about Abu Bakr. It was approximately 1 year before the migration to Medina. The Prophet, peace be upon him, woke up one morning and told the people something that shook all of Mecca to its core. He said that in one single night, he had been taken from Mecca to Jerusalem, then carried up through the 7 heavens. He had met the prophets, he had seen paradise and hellfire, and he had returned before dawn. All of this in one night. The reaction from the people of Mecca? Laughter, mockery, outrage. He's lost his mind. This is the most ridiculous thing we've ever heard. Now we know he's a liar. And here's the part that breaks your heart. Even some who had already accepted Islam began to waver. The news was too much, too impossible. And a number of them actually left the faith entirely because of it. Quraysh saw their golden opportunity. They rushed to find Abu Bakr, the Prophet's closest companion, the man everyone respected, and they came to him almost gleefully. "Did you hear what your friend is claiming? He says he traveled to Jerusalem and back in one night. Do you believe that?" Abu Bakr paused. He looked at them, and then he said something they never expected. If he said it, then yes, I believe him. They stared at him in disbelief. "You actually believe this?" He looked right back at them and said, "I believe him when he tells me news from the heavens. Why would I not believe him about Jerusalem?" But Quraysh wasn't done. They had one more move. They came back to Abu Bakr and said, "Fine. If he's telling the truth, let him describe Jerusalem to us. You've been there. You know what it looks like. Let's see if his description matches." This was the real test. Abu Bakr went to the Prophet and said, "Describe it to me." And the Prophet began to describe the Al-Aqsa Mosque, its stones, its gates, its corridors, its layout in precise, detailed, unfaltering detail. Quraysh was waiting for a mistake, any inconsistency, anything that would expose a lie. It never came. The description was exact, perfect, undeniable, and Abu Bakr stood before them all and said with full conviction, "He has told the truth. I bear witness that he is the messenger of God." The man who had carried divine revelation with perfect honesty for years was not going to invent prophets and paradise for attention. Abu Bakr didn't just believe in the miracle, he believed in the man. When the Prophet heard what Abu Bakr had said and done, he looked at him and spoke words that would last until the end of time. "You are Al-Siddiq," the truthful one, the one who believed when no one else did. And that title given in that moment has never left his name. The Hijrah. 622 CE Mecca. Quraysh had made their decision. The Prophet had to die. They planned to send one man from every tribe to strike him simultaneously so that his blood would be on all of them, and no single tribe could be held responsible. But the Prophet received revelation from God by the angel, and that night he left, with one man by his side, Abu Bakr Al-Siddiq, just the two of them, slipping through the darkness, heading south away from Medina, to throw the search parties off toward a cave in the mountain of Thar. They hid there for 3 days. The search parties were closing in, getting closer, and at one point the footsteps stopped right outside the cave entrance. Abu Bakr leaned toward the Prophet and whispered, "If any one of them just looks down at his feet, he will see us." And the Prophet, in complete and total calm, looked at him and said, "What do you think of two when God is their third?" That moment, that stillness, that certainty. And it was about this exact moment, this exact man, that God revealed a verse in the Quran that will be recited until the end of time. His death. His caliphate lasted just 2 years, 3 months, and 10 days. He fell ill. Some say after bathing on a cold day. Some historical accounts suggest he may have been poisoned. But in his final moments, he wasn't speaking about himself. He was asking about the Muslims, about the state, about who would lead after him. He chose Umar ibn al-Khattab as his successor, a decision that would shape the next decade of Islamic history. He passed away in 634 CE, at the age of 63, the same age as the Prophet, peace be upon him, at his death. And he was buried right beside him, the companion, beside his Prophet, in death as in life. Abu Bakr al-Siddiq was not just a caliph. He was not just a companion. He was the man who believed when everyone denied, who gave when everyone held back, who stood firm when everyone else was falling apart. If there was no Abu Bakr, Islam as we know it today might not exist, and maybe that's the most powerful thing about him. He never sought power. He never sought fame. He just believed completely, absolutely, without a shadow of doubt, and that belief moved mountains. If you want to know which companion slept in the Prophet's bed when Quraysh stormed the house, like the video, if this story moved you, subscribe, because the next figures we're covering are just as extraordinary, just as forgotten, and just as deserving of being known. And tell me in the comments, what surprised you most about Abu Bakr al-Siddiq?